Right. Hello everyone, my name is Shristi Shrestha and I'm a University Ambassador from Pokhara University. I advocate for STG 09, which is Industry Innovation and Infrastructure. Today I'm here with a special guest, the person which is very talented and I personally know, which is Associate Product Manager at Code Rush, and she is also works as Volunteer Strategic Manager at Girls in Tech Nepal. Welcome, Shristi Shrestha.
Yes, thank you so much, Sharina, for inviting me. It's a pleasure to talk to you. I'm really happy that you have been involved in the advocacy of STGs in Nepal as a student. So a lot, really looking forward to the talk we are going to have today.
Thank you so much. So talking about STCs, there are total 17 STCs which should be fulfilled till 2030. So what do you advocate for? Which STC do you really believe that you advocate for?
Okay, so to my opinion, so every STG goal is interrelated with each other, in my opinion. So even though I have been, indirectly working with quite a few SDGs, I think my main focus is gender equality. So I have been advocating actively for this SDG for the past 3-4 years. I've been working for this same. So yeah.
Yeah, so what inspired you to be the activist of first gender equality? Can you describe?
Okay. So like so ever since I was a kid, I grew up in a patriarchal family where my father, my grandfather, were kind of these figures who should be followed in terms of the house rules and everything. So my mom was a homemaker, she was a housewife. So we kind of, so my mother was always very keen about, helping me complete my education and empowering me to make a career for myself. So so interestingly, after I joined my bachelor's degree, so I studied in Kathmandu in Polka campus. So
Yeah.
I was an electrical engineering major. So if you
Yes.
are into the field of STEM, you are very familiar with the situation, and you are also someone who's studying engineering right now. So you might relate with me that there were very, very few girls in my class. So in a class of 48, we were just 6 girls, which was kind of a ratio of 10 to 1. So the ratio
Yeah.
10 to 1. So when that happens, so knowingly, unknowingly, there are a lot of disparities that take place in the class,
Mm,
in the college culture, in the college community, where
yeah.
the systemic issues hampers the development of the female students as compared to the male students. So while I should say that my male peers in the class were very supportive of us, they were not deliberately trying to uh, discriminate us in any way, but just the systemic problems that existed because of the sheer number of girls that we had in class. It was very, very difficult for us to fit in with the guys, to work with them in groups, to communicate with them, and kind of prove that we also had our worth to work side by side with them. And same with the industry, as we were graduating, it was very difficult for us to sell ourselves as quality engineers as compared to our male peers in class. That kind of inspired me to work specifically in the area of gender equality, because I do think that there's a lot to be done for
Yeah.
equiting the entire arena of male versus female in the field of STEM, be it engineering, be it tech, or any other related fields.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, I have just mentioned that you are working in tech that's related to women, which is women in tech. So, how do you think that this is helping women to be as equal as men?
Okay. Um, so I specifically work more with Girls in Tech, which is a nonprofit organization. So I currently am the strategic advisory board at Girls in Tech Nepal, which is a Nepal chapter of the international nonprofit Girls in Tech. Mainly the work that I have done in the last 3 years as a part of GIT is especially planning and implementing different events and programs that specifically target capacitating and empowering women women for developing skills in the field of technology and engineering. So I think the main issue that we face currently with all the equality or all the empowering agendas that we carry is that it's very difficult to speak for ourselves as a woman, as a girl. Is the most important thing is that we are financially independent. So unless we are not financially independent, unless we are dependent on the male counterparts, male peers, or the male society for sustaining our own life financially, we cannot speak against them because of different fears that come associated with the financial dependency. So that's why I've been mainly working with capacitating the skills and the knowledge of women so that they can progress their careers, progress their education, progress their again financial ability, so that
Yeah.
they can so first they can build careers that match up to the male peers, and they can be confident about their skills and their earning. Second, I would want people to realize that as tech is a very ever fast growing industry, it's very important that we have an equitable team developing the systems, developing the technology, so that there are not any gender biases that are being incorporated in the tech systems, in the technology, in the softwares, in the applications that we are creating. So I think it goes both ways. It's capacitating, it's encouraging, it's empowering the women in tech, and also creating systems that will be able to keep up with the equitable world that we are striving to build in the next, I think, 8, 9, and more, 50 years.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, what you have just said, and it's related to us. And like in today's world, in the name of quality, like there are many women out there who is misusing this power. So what should we do to prevent it? Can you say a little thing?
Okay, so I think countries all around the world have developed a lot of rules, a lot of regulations, a lot of policies that kind of work in favor of a certain gender, which is female right now, so that they are able to kind of break out of their fear, break out of their boundaries, to share their problems, to share the injustices happening to them. So having said that, with every policy or every system that is created, there might be a small group of people that might take advantage of the same policies. There might be loopholes that have been overlooked by the system creators, right? So I think in those cases, I think, so especially the examples that we see of such cases happening are in divorce cases, or maybe in some criminal cases regarding sexual harassment or things related to. So in those cases, I think it's very important that the stakeholders who are involved in the certain case, in the certain incident, or involved in a certain area of topic should be very careful that their investigation is happening in a just way, so that no party is being biased against each other. It's the role of the judicial party. It's the responsibility of the stakeholders at hand. It's the responsibility of the decision makers, that they are factoring all the factors that are creating the issue, like who are being affected by the problem. Is every party being honest? Is every party providing the correct evidence? Is every investigation being done without kind of enforcing their own biases related to a gender? Is the gender part really making an issue in creating a biased result at the end? So I think it's upon the responsibility of the people responsible for making such decisions to be very careful about the decisions they are making, and not let any party bear the unfair consequences of a biased uh, proposition.
Yeah. So, as you said, like there are many people biased in our society, right? So, so as an individual, what should we, how we should aware them that this is the thing we should do to have equality among ourselves? How can we uh, aware them, like as an individual, what is our role to do that?
Okay, I think for gender equality, because each person is responsible for maintaining their own rights, and kind of also awareing people around them of the matter. If somebody is unaware um, about gender inequality, I think the main thing that we should acknowledge is that we respect ourselves, our opinions, and we also respect the opinions, the problems, the scenario, the issues of the other person, of the counterpart. It So for the genders, I think for male, female, regardless of their sexual identity, regardless of their sexual orientation, it's very, very important that we respect each and everyone's opinion at first. And then after that, what we can do is, it's very important that we become educated about this about gender, about sexual orientations, about people's sexual identities, so that while we are respecting our own opinions, we are not infringing anybody else's
Yeah.
opinion, anybody else's identity, or anybody else's issues along the way. So the first thing that we can do is start with our own families. So it's very important that we carry out discussions, honest discussions with our family about the gender inequality issues. What roles are we playing in our family? So is the gender roles in our family really the typical or the stereotypical roles that is portrayed maybe in media, maybe in books, or maybe in the concurrent society?
Yeah.
So I think the change happens within yourself, then in your family, and after that, what you can do is, after that, you can move towards your peers in classes, peers in your office, and to the outer community within your circle, and then maybe you can move to the activism role, where you can raise awareness,
Mm.
raise awareness about the issue. And again, so I think, so the main issue I think I do see in our Nepalese community, is that we are raising a lot of awareness. So I do not think that people necessarily discriminate against the female gender, or any other gender, without knowing that it is wrong. There are a ton of people, there are a lot of people that engage in activities that are discriminating, that are victimizing women, even though they know it's wrong. So it's really our responsibility, where we are also encouraging the victimized parties to speak out against the discrimination, to speak out against the injustices, to speak out against um, the the perpetrators, without infringing their privacy, without infringing their security. So it's really important that we maintain a balance of protecting the vulnerable community, while also advocating for their uh, protection, for their equality, and for their rights.
Yeah, that's right. So, your company that you are working on, which is Code Rush, and like that company, which what do you think? Like, what would you suggest to the companies in addressing the male and women representation? How would you what would you like to suggest them?
Okay. So actually, so the Code Rush, so the company that I'm working in currently right now is a very female centric company. So it initially was established as a very female centric company, where all the female all the employees were females. But right now, currently, we have, recentered our mission and vision, and we also have male employees in our team. But the interesting thing is that even though we are working in the sector of tech, so most of our employees are females, right? And in terms of policies, so our company has incorporated a lot of policies that kind of provides a lot of facilities to our female employees. So we have menstrual leave every month. Our facilities, even the bathroom facilities, the sanit
Yeah.
complimentary sanitary goods that are provided in the office. So every regulation, every policy that we have in our office are make centered to the
Mm.
pain points of the female employees as well. But I think
Mm.
even with that happening, so I think I cannot really like speak for my own company, but what I
Mm.
see generally in the tech area is that, so first of all, there are very few students graduating in tech
Mm.
area. Reflecting the same image, there are very few female
Mm.
employees working in engineering companies and tech companies. So when that happens, even if the company is not deliberately trying to discriminate their female employees,
Mm.
the culture that is developed with all the male stakeholders in the executive committee, with more male managers, with more male team members in the company. So it might create a lot of
Mm.
environment where the female employees are not feeling included, where they
Mhm.
are not feeling heard, where
Yeah.
they might be not even included in the conversations in
Mm.
for it may be for it may be for work, for
Mhm.
innovation or any kind of development that is happening in the company, or it might also be informal conversations where each employee, where employees build relationships with each other. So I think it's very important that the company, the executives in the company are very conscious about the policies that they are developing for protecting the voice of their female employees. And another suggestion that I can make is that kind of discussing,
Mhm.
including in is that active inclusion of female employees in their executive team, so that their pain points can be actively advocated during board meetings or important meetings, which are usually creating the policies for the company.
Mhm.
And another thing that can be done is awareing each and every employee of
Mhm.
the gender dynamic that is
Yeah.
taking place in the company, so that no person is feeling left out, no person is feeling insecure, no person is feeling discriminated in the company. And it is really the responsibility of each and every employee that they are conscious of the words that they are delivering, of the actions that they are taking,
Mhm.
and being very clear about being conscious of not so there are many issues that happens, for example, mansplaining. So it's a very
Mhm.
simple issue that takes place where where the male, so
Mhm.
especially in the area of tech, the default opinion is that, okay, the female employees do not know things as well as the male counterpart.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important that we break
Mhm.
out of our own biases, and we
Mhm.
create each and every one with an equal footing, and we create an environment where everyone can feel free to work for their own progress, or work for
Yeah.
their own
Mhm.
good. Yeah.
So yeah, so we have discussed about the gender equality, its problem, its solution, how we can aware people. So at last, I would like to ask, like, as we both know, there are many organizations which are working to achieve the agenda of STG goal, which should be achieved till 2030. So what do you think? Can we achieve that goal?
Okay. So we are in 2022 currently. So we have, I think, 8 years left, because this year is almost over. So I do think that a 50-50 equity ratio. So for my certain agenda, I think maintaining a 50-50 percent equity in the field of science and tech, which is 50-50 participation in colleges, 50-50 participation in maybe companies in terms of employee numbers, and also 50 in representation in the executive committees, in the leadership positions. So
Yeah.
factoring each and every facet of the goal, I think I do think that 2030 year is a very uh, ambitious goal that we are taking. But having said that, I do think it's a very difficult endeavor that we've taken. But I also believe that if we make progress in the same pace that we are making now, and if we are able to accelerate the pace of things that we are working on, because I really do think that in the last few years we have come a long way. We have come a long way in terms of the support I see from the community, in terms of the support I see from the companies, in terms of support I see from the colleges. I do think that numbers are increasing, the impact is increasing, but at the same time, I do think that we should not take this effort for granted. I think there's a lot more work to be done. And the most like most weird thing about gender equality issues that I get is that it's people consider is that some is as something that should be only worked on by the female members of the society, and that is completely untrue. I think even if it's an issue of gender inequality, where right now we are mainly focusing on empowering the female gender, I do think that both genders, male and female, and beyond that, so I think all the genders who might, even in that gender spectrum, we have a spectrum of different identities that are carried by people. So I think that it's really important that we include each and every one while making the discussions. And we also think that it's the responsibility of each and every person, not just one specific gender, not just specific female gender, to work in this area. I think it's so I always talk about this point. It's not important that we kind of the only the females should not try to push the glass barrier that is kind of bounding us from carrying our freedom, from finding our voice. I think it's very important that we have other counterparts, we have male counterparts at the other side of the door for helping us pull that door for us. So I think it's the responsibility of both the parties, both the genders, and everybody actually, to work actively in the mission, and to acknowledge that efforts from all sides are necessary to actually combat this issue and achieve the goal by 2030.
Thank you so much. Like, you have really made me understand everything, and so it's my pleasure to talk to you. And thank you so much for making us aware about what is gender equality and the problem and the solution. Thank you so much for everything.
Okay, thank you so much, Sharina, for inviting me. As always, it was really nice talking to you. So best of luck for your future endeavors. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think